All right, everybody. Hey, we've got our special guest on the phone, family member who's going to help shed us some light. Reverend Al Sharpton is joining us this morning to give us his insight, his thoughts on the hearing this Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend?
Good morning, Reverend.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, Reverend.
How you doing? All right, Reverend Al, we could just let you get to it. Tuesday, grand jury hearing. What do you expect? What do you think? What are your thoughts? What are you hearing?
Well, we are hearing little of nothing. The grand jury proceedings are private. The fact that the grand jury is going forward could, though, be the thing that would move this case to an arrest, and then we go to a public trial and seek justice. Clearly, the special prosecutor appointed by the governor of Florida would not have happened had there not been the protest, because the local prosecutors had already declined to arrest or even prosecute Zimmerman. So the good news is we have a special prosecutor. Where she will go, we'll know in a few days. We're going to be monitoring it. The Trayvon Martin family and others are really concerned about this, not only from Trayvon's case, but that it doesn't happen again. We're in a tremendous climate of violence, and a lot of it based on race. We saw 5 blacks shot in Tulsa over the weekend. 3 died from 2 white assailants suspected of a hate crime. What are we looking at, and what are we going to do about it? That's one of the reasons, Steve, this week we're having a major conference in Washington starting Wednesday. And Attorney General Eric Holder is going to kick it off, talking about the issues of government all through the weekend. And then we end it on Saturday with Trayvon's parents and others joining us at Howard University. We'll be at Washington Convention Center all week dealing with health issues and the criminal justice system and all, and then culminate Saturday at Howard by laying out a map of what we need to do. What does the average citizen need to do? How do we get involved when we're part of the solution and not part of the problem?
Wow. Now, let me ask you something. To those out there that may not understand the grand jury situation here, what is exactly going to happen Tuesday grand jury hearing? Is comprised of who, and what is their task that's laid before the grand jury hearing?
The grand jury is taking of citizens that are selected, like a public jury, but it's private. They're selected, the prosecutor puts them in a room, and then they subpoena evidence before them, the police, forensic evidence, whatever physical evidence. Their job is only to decide whether there is enough evidence there to support going to trial. They don't decide whether one is guilty or not. They decide whether there's enough evidence to go to trial. So if the charge against Zimmerman is murder, do they see enough to say, well, he could have committed a murder? Not that he did, not that he didn't, but he could have. Therefore, indict him, let's see a trial. Or the same thing with the if it's manslaughter. Given a best example, you can get arrested, and then a grand jury can say, no, I don't see enough to indict you. Many of us remember the case of the head of the IMF, who was arrested for raping the maid in Manhattan, and later was not indicted, was not prosecuted, which is why it is so unheard of that Zimmerman wasn't arrested. Do you realize that we're in a country where the head of the International Monetary Fund could be arrested because the maid said he raped me and she showed some physical evidence, but Zimmerman killed a young man and wasn't arrested?
Wow. Now, okay, Reverend, so we're perfectly clear. After the grand jury hears all of the evidence and looks at the forensics and everything of that nature, let's say they come back and they say, okay, we have enough. We think that something could have happened there. We need to look at it. So an indictment is made. Is that the time of an arrest is made, charges? I mean, what's the process at that point? Do they arrest Zimmerman? Are there charges?
The process at that point is that he would be charged with whatever they feel is the evidence for him to stand trial. He's arraigned. Now, he could be arrested before that, as I use the IMF example. He could be arrested even during that. It doesn't matter. The prosecutor could say, I'm going to arrest him to hold him and make sure that he faces some kind of justice that can lead to jurisdiction. But once he's indicted, he is formally charged. And he then is arraigned, bail put or not put, and then they're given a trial date. And then they go, the defense and the prosecutors, back and forth and prepare for trial. The defense doesn't put anything up in the grand jury. Only the prosecutor puts up evidence in the grand jury, because only the prosecutor is there to see if there's enough to charge him. The defense doesn't come in until there's a trial. So Zimmerman and his attorney have nothing to do with the grand jury.
That's the clarity that I needed for myself, to be honest with you, because I do not understand that entire process. That cleans it up for me. This is the prosecutor presenting his case to the grand jury to see if there's enough to bring about an indictment, which should result in an arrest, which then should bring about a trial, and then his defense can come in. That's the clarity I need.
But not until then.
And not until then. But there could be an arrest made because a child was murdered. Man, man. Hey, Reverend Al, we know you're on top of this for us. We appreciate you calling in and giving us this update. That cleans up a lot. I think that's the understanding that a lot of us needed to know and to hear, man, and keep fighting. And, hey, man, we with you, man, and thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, too.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show.